Hello, welcome to the Comic Book Commentary. I'm Bo Leidig, and this week we're going to be talking about a comic book that many of you may have heard of, but never had the chance to actually read. And up until very recently, I was in that exact same boat. It's Battle Chaser's Prelude issue. So let's zoom in and take a closer look. First published in February of 1998, we can see that this is an exclusive from anotheruniverse.com. I don't know exactly how rare or difficult to find this book actually is. The prices that I saw online as of recording this video didn't make it seem like it was terribly difficult to find. Usually it hovers anywhere between $12 and $25. I should point out, though, there is a gold foil variant cover that, from what I saw, hovers around the $50 mark, though it's no different really than this cover. The only difference is that the Battle Chasers logo is in gold foil. So if you're a real diehard Battle Chasers fan and also somewhat of a completionist, for, in the neighborhood of $50, you can get your hands on one of the gold foil variants of this cover. Joe Madureira, creator, penciler. Monier Sharif, I'm so sorry, I know I pronounced that wrong, and Joe Madureira, story. Vince Russell with Tom McWeeny, specifically on page 8, inks. Liquid, colors. Richard Starkings and Comicraft, letterers. Comicraft's Joe Marazagan, again, sorry, I know I'm mispronouncing your name. Design. Scott Dunbier, editor-in-chief. Jim Lee, publisher. We see here the story starts off in a secluded wood with a relatively decent-sized house. It's not so much a cottage, but actually by the looks of it, 2 to 3 story home, and I'm assuming it also has a cellar as well. This is the home of Aramis, who is the most famous and powerful hero of the kingdom. And unfortunately for said kingdom, he has gone missing and nobody knows where or why. And the only people left in his home are his young daughter, Gully, who is reading his memoirs and writings about how to deal with conflict and war as she looks outside longingly at the moon, wondering where her father is gone. And the home is also occupied by, I'm assuming, his house servant, who is referred to in this issue as Nanny. She seems to be a little bit wary of the storm that's rolling in, but also somewhat uneasy by the fact that there might be some unexpected visitors showing up when she is told to be silent, as there are already some visitors hiding inside of her home that she doesn't seem too happy are there. Suddenly, Nanny is interrupted when there is a loud knock at the door. Gully hears this and believes that it's possibly her father returned home. However, downstairs, we see the man hiding inside one of the closets, instructing Nanny to go and open the door and to not say a word of him being there, and that it's imperative for the safety of herself and the child that everything appear normal. As she approaches the door, she opens it slowly and is greeted by a contingency of several men who claim to be bounty trackers in service to the crown. And they are claiming to be on the hunt for Aramis to try and figure out where he has disappeared to. Meanwhile, back upstairs on the second floor, Gully, convinced that her father has returned home, exclaims "Father" as she starts to run downstairs. However, she is grabbed from behind from a figure hiding in the dark, or by a figure hiding in the darkness, who cups their hand over Gully's mouth and tells her to remain quiet. The man produces a official-looking document to Nanny stating that they are indeed in service to the king, and that he's here looking for a specific item that he claims will lead him and his team to the location of Aramis. And while his document does seem to be on the up and up, Nanny seems to still have some reservations about who these men are and what their motivations may actually be. As the men continue to search through the home looking for something that they have not divulged to Nanny, The man in charge asks Nanny if she is the only person home at the moment. She says she's not, but he doesn't seem to really believe her when they are all suddenly interrupted by the man who was hiding in the closet as he jumps out exclaiming the word heathen. And then we find out that this man is the leader of the King's Royal Guard, who are also there, who jump out of all of their hiding places to surround the bounty trackers, as the man in charge exclaims that they are indeed imposters, as they have already found the bodies of the original bounty trackers, and that these men murdered them in cold blood, and that they are in service to some sort of evil ne'er-do-well who is looking to exploit a great weapon of great power and use it against the crown. We see upstairs that the man who grabbed Gully has now let her go and tells her to stay hidden upstairs until he comes back and tells her that the danger has passed. We see the man in charge of the King's Guard basically commanding the imposters to surrender and that they will pay for the crimes they've committed, and essentially believes that he has the upper hand. I mean, they are completely outnumbering the bounty trackers and, have the element of surprise. However, the man in charge of them doesn't seem to be too worried as he continues to remain arrogant, which only angers the man in charge of the Royal Guard even more. But we then see the reason for his arrogance is because as he taps a jewel on his cloak, he and the other men all turn into monstrous wolf men, which Gully sees from upstairs, and the Royal Guard seem quite terrified to realize that they now have to face off against a team of monstrous wolf beings. We see then that the leader of the imposters is now taunting the captain of the King's Guard, stating, "What's the matter? I thought you were going to put us in our place," essentially, as he reaches out and grabs him by the head, his subordinates looking on in horror. As Nanny realizes things are going to get really bad really quickly, she runs to the side of the room and grabs a small box and starts to make a quick getaway. Meanwhile, the King's Guard are being decimated by these monstrous wolfmen. They're basically no match for them, which I find a little bit surprising. I mean, I understand that they didn't go there assuming that they were going to be facing giant monster wolfmen, but they are, assumedly some of the most elite fighters in the entire military of this land, and they're just getting trounced. Meanwhile, Nanny starts to run up the staircase. However, she is noticed by the leader of the Wolfmen as she tries to get to Gully as quickly as she can. The Wolfmen waste no time in starting to follow up the stairs as we see Nanny jump to Gully's door and tell her that she has to get away. Gully seems confused by this as she's rather paralyzed by fear, understandably so. Unfortunately for Nanny and Gully, they are interrupted immediately by one of the Wolfmen as he rounds the corner. Nanny realizes that there's no time for the two of them to formulate any kind of a plan as she jumps between the Wolfman and Gully and throws the box she was carrying to Gully, which lands on the floor. She then yells at Gully to pick up the box and run. Gully, unfortunately, does not want to leave her friend behind, the woman who cares for her. However, Nanny exclaims that she has to escape and yells at her to go once again. Gully begrudgingly jumps out through the window and lands on the ground behind the home as we see Nanny turn around and pull a knife and state that she's not going to let this wolfman anywhere near the girl, as we then see Gully running for her life, clasping the box to her chest as she tries to escape. And this is the end of the story in this issue. Now, I know this seems short, but it is just a prelude. It's not an actual full issue. We are then treated to some concept sketch art of many of the characters in this series, which is to become a regular ongoing series. And while it does become ongoing, regular could not be a more inaccurate term to describe the frequency, or should I say infrequency, that these issues were released. We then see some of the sketches of the main cast of characters. We have Garrison Calabretto, who is a war golem, I believe is what he's called. It's, I guess, sort of like a steam mech, but also, powered by magic in some circumstances. We then see Nolan, who is some sort of a sorcerer, and then Gully sporting some large gauntlets that belong to her father. Gee, I wonder if that's what possibly was in the box she was carrying. And we then move on to the next page to see a few more, images of what's to come. We then see a few images of Red Monica, who is the sexy rogue type of character, and also some images of what I can only assume are some villains, as they are not actually named, and I haven't read further into the series than this issue. But both of these characters look really cool. We have this big giant monster serpent looking dude with claw legs as he's stomping some people, and this guy who seems to have some sort of biomechanical blade arm. I really like both of these. These are really cool designs. We then get a 2-page ad where it's talking about Joe Madureira coming from Marvel and his run on Uncanny X-Men to start his own unique creator-owned property, Battle Chasers, which we get some cool color image of right here. It looks pretty good. And that it's all supposed to start April 15th of 1998. And on the final page of the book, we get another advertisement for Battle Chasers, but this one's actually pretty interesting, as this is where we learn that Gully is only 9 years old and that she is going to be dealing with a lot going forward as she discovers exactly what the gauntlets that belong to her father are all about. And on the reverse inside cover, we get an advertisement for Danger Girl. I unfortunately, at this point in time, do not have any videos about Danger Girl because I don't own any issues of Danger Girl, and I'm going to have to be on the lookout for those because I actually wouldn't mind having the opportunity to do some videos on that series, but it's just a matter of trying to find a decent chunk of them, hopefully in some back issue boxes. And that was Battle Chasers Prelude. It's not very long, but I think it does a very good job of setting the stage for what the story of Battle Chasers is, which is a high fantasy, adventure comic. I really like the way that the overall tone of the artwork fits into this story. There's some people that don't really like Joe Madureira's artwork. I personally do. I always feel like his artwork, while incredibly stylized, works really well for the stories that he applies it to. If you've ever played any of the Darksiders video games, he's basically the guy who designed most, if not all, of the characters in those video games. And that's kind of also what led to a few of the problems with Battle Chasers. As I stated at the beginning of this video, this issue came out in February of 1998, and there are only 12 total issues of Battle Chasers. Issue number 12 was just released August of 2023, this year, while I'm recording this video. That means that in 25 years, he averaged less than 2 issues a year. And that's kind of a problem. The man released this comic with no consistency whatsoever, sometimes going months or, in other cases, more than a decade between issues. And, basically got to issue number 9, and then we heard nothing about Battle Chasers forever. And then suddenly he came out with a Battle Chasers video game, which, if you've never played, isn't that bad. I actually bought it on Steam and played a little bit of it just to see what it was like before I recorded this video. And I got it on sale for $2.99, and I think it's pretty fun. It doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but it looks gorgeous. And if you enjoy, classic JRPGs with a little bit of mild dungeon crawler elements, it might be right up your alley, and you might want to give it a shot. It's also available for Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and GOG. If you're one of the people who uses GOG to download games for their PC. But, like I said, I feel like Joe's artwork does a very good job in this story. And his artwork reminds me a lot of Samwise and Metzen, who, and I know I'm dating myself with this, both had huge roles in creating the style and feel of the Warcraft universe, as the two of them really kind of came into their own with Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness. But, you know, that whole genre of like the very stylized, super huge weaponry, super huge swords and armor, and very exaggerated features on characters was becoming really popular at this time. And I don't think any of these guys really copied each other. They were just kind of a product of that moment in history. But that being said, I think Joe Madureira was definitely the best of the three. I feel like his artwork was the most polished in terms of what he was doing. And I really am glad that he was finally able to finish Battle Chasers after, taking so long of a time away from it to focus on video game development. It was nice that he never forgot about it. But these are just my opinions. Your opinions may vary. And if you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.